So instead of waiting, let's kick off. I know most of you have come for this webinar to learn a bit more of the difference between agile coaching and mentoring. So let me tell you a little bit about myself. My name is Krishna Chodipelli. I'm a life coach by trade. On the other note, I'm also have a title called a chief storyteller. My job is to tell you stories which will make sense and see if it helps you in your journey. And these are my stories. And some of the stories have stolen from some of the organizations I worked. And there are some stories which I was able to witness some amazing stuff. And there are some stories not the same. I will be sharing some of those. And on top of that, if you want to know more and you want to reach me, you can reach out to me on LinkedIn or drop a note to hello@Leadership Tribe. I'll be more than happy to reach back to some of my colleagues if I can, but I'll be more than happy to read your emails and get back to you. A little bit about Leadership Tribe, the organization I work for. This organization works with various domains. For example, they work within the medical industry or the finance organizations or even consultancies, where we help the organizations to improve the way of working. It can be agile or it can be anything that matters for the organization. Okay, what do you mean by that, Krishna? So if you want to understand a little bit more what is outside Agile, you can stay back till the end of the webinar and we'll be able to identify if there is something. If not, let's try to discover what is that. So we provide facilitators, and sometimes we also help train the organization leadership, where we provide them tools, leadership tools. Let me do a quick test. Can you give me an example of a leadership tool? Type it in the chat window, please. Let's try to see that. What is an example of a leadership tool? What is an example of a leadership tool? Type it in the chat window. Visual facilitation. Okay, what else? Provide direction to the team to achieve results. Delegation, decision making, negotiation skills, strategic planning, thinking, mindset, listener, conflict management, people management, listening. I love you all. Thank you for understanding. One should have the mindset to understand what is happening around me. And depending on the situation, as a leader, coach, or an individual, you will be using different skills or competencies. And that should start with the problem. So we help coach train those leadership, how to have that mindset, where you can see things, what they're happening. Some leaders, what they do is they tend to exaggerate things more than they should be. And some leaders, even if the house is on fire, it's okay. But even in those two situations, things can go absolutely pear-shaped. How to look at things in a proper way. What are the tools you can use? For example, facilitation skills, coaching skills, mentoring skills, skills or advanced facilitation skills where you use at the strategic level. We teach organizations. On top of that, whatever we teach, we learn, we bring it back to the community in form of webinars, which we do. On top of that, we also do public training programs. And the underlying intent is to give knowledge and see how we can uplift the leadership in the community. That's what we do. And we have various partners who work with us. I am one of the partners for Leadership Tribe. We got Lindy, an amazing life coach from South Africa. We got a colonel from the Indian Army working as a leadership coach and a trainer and a consultant. We got Temi, and one of those amazing personalities who understands about the lean portfolio management using Kanban and how to eliminate waste and improve quality in the way we are doing. And Ming, who comes from China, Wuhan, and she's been one of those amazing strategic leadership coaches who works in England as well as in China. These are some of the people who we work with. And if you have any questions related to any of the topics, and if you find these people are the subject matter experts, reach out to us at hello@leadershiptribe.com. And they will be, it's not only me, there are other people as well. So you can reach out to. All right. A little social contract just to understand how we're going to work together. We are going to learn together. So we're going to use the chat for the panelists and the attendees so everyone can see the questions or your responses. And by the way, this webinar has been recorded and it's been streamed to multiple channels. And we also have a Q&A sessions. If you have any questions which you're passionate to learn about, I'll be more than happy to answer. Does not mean that I will be able to answer all your questions, as we have a time box limit. So we will try to prioritize and see what we can do. If I cannot, there is still an opportunity to drop a note to hello@Leadership Tribe and we can get back to you. This webinar is for an hour and a half. That means between 60 to 90 minutes. If I've been baptizing you in the name of Agile and coaching, whatever you can think of, and you learned so much and you don't have any questions, we can end in 60 minutes if you want to. At the same time, I am quite curious to learn a bit about your journeys, the tools and skills, what has been working for you, the things which have not been working as well. So I'm looking forward for that. So on that note, let me stop sharing for a second and ask you a quick question. What is the one emotion you're bringing into the webinar right now? Type it in the chat window, please. What is the emotion you have? You got excitement, curiosity, inquisitive, curious, open thoughts, curiosity, great expectations, curious. Anxiety, curious, learning coaching, openness, learning, open to learn. Wow. So this webinar, we're going to look at coaching and mentoring in detail. And we'll also look at what are the other skills Agile coaches need. And as a coach and as enterprise coach and a trainer, I help organizations in the new ways of working. So some of the organizations can be with 2 people, a startup with 2 people, or even a 1 person. And some of the organizations, they have 650,000 people working with them. So I work anything in between. So by doing this, you will be learning what I have learned and what I've experienced. And top of this, if you have questions, I'll be more than happy to. I'm curious as well. That's my emotion I'm bringing to the table. Okay, so what is coaching according to you? If you can try to define it in less than 5 to 6 words or 1 word, that will be amazing. Type it in the chat window, please. Coaching according to you. Enterprise Agile, encouraging, getting people to bring out their full potential. I love that answer. Guiding them to their right, okay, passing on needed expertise, making people successful, teaching, empowering, sharing knowledge, teaching, share my experience and guide them. Energy unleasher, woo, okay, supporting, explaining subject to the group of people. It depends, jokes apart, leading people to come. I love Sandeep's answer as well. It depends. Asking the right question, imparting knowledge, empowering, guiding. Oh, lovely answers. Some of them are very close to coaching and some of them close to mentoring and some of them very close to teaching as well. But underlying principles of coaching, mentoring, teaching, they similar. Let's look at them. Let's look at them. So Let me see if I can share my screen. There we go, sharing my screen as we speak. So when we talk about coaching and mentoring, they are development approaches and they are used for one-to-ones conversations to improve the individual skills, or it can be used one-to-many as team coaching to improve the knowledge or work experience or work performance or something to unleash the potential in the future. It's about way forward for coaching and mentoring as well. There is a there is a possibility to draw the distinctions between coaching and mentoring, but in practice, the two terms are used interchangeably. So the focus of the webinar is on coaching because most of the skills they apply to mentoring as well. They're similar but different. So let's dig into what is coaching. So when we talk about coaching, there is a lack of general agreement among coaching professionals who I work with about a precise definition. There are some generally agreed characteristics of coaching in organizations. It's essentially a non-directive form of development. It focuses on improving the performance and developing an individual. There are many factors that may including the emphasis on performance of the work, and it's a skilled activity which should be delivered by people who are trained to do so. This can be line managers, other trained in coaching skills. It can be anyone who understand what coaching is. And for that, someone needs to understand what is it about and what is in it for me as a coach. So coaching is also used for business and executives, for career, and there are some Christian coaches I met for dating. Coaching is used, we have dating coaches, we have financial coaches, we have health and wellness coaches, we have education coaches, we have life coaches, we have relationship coaches, sports coaches, vocal coaches, we also have writing coaches. There are different types of coaching professionals. So the primary focus is to improve the performance and help the individual to grow better than what they are. That's about coaching in a nutshell. And by the way, I usually teach 60 hours on what coaching is. Giving you what coaching is less than 30 seconds or minute, I am being very unfair. But this is in a very high level. Okay, let's move to mentoring. So mentoring at workplaces is it's a relationship between a very experienced colleague who will be giving their knowledge and experience from what they have experienced in the part of their life to an inexperienced staff member. To be a mentor, you need to understand what your staff member is, what is the problem the staff member is asking. For that, you need to listen carefully. And you need to clarify. For that, you need to ask questions, powerful questions. It's beyond a direct approach. You're not telling a person, this is how it is. Now, as a mentor, you're asking for permission and you're giving them choices. You're giving them a story from your experience, what you have done in the past, and helping a mentee to explore that option. As a mentor, if I'm telling a person, do X, Y, Z, so on and so forth, and the person goes and delivers it, according to me, every step, what is the possibility of this action to be successful by the mentee? Give me a percentage, type it in the chat window. As a mentor, if I told a mentee, I tell you X, Y, Z, you do not have a choice, go do it. What is the possibility of it being successful? Type it in the chat window. Very low, very low. Okay. So if I'm giving an option, that means the option which I've done in the past, the technology might be different, the people was different, the environment might be different, and the environmental situation in the past might have been different. As a mentor, if I'm giving solutions to the people, do X, Y, and Z, when a person is implementing day to day, what might happen? We are living in a volatile, uncertain, complex, ambiguous environment. Can we call COVID as volatile? Yes or no? It is. It is volatile. Things are changing every single day. At the same time, we also know it's uncertain, it's complex, it's ambiguous. Things are changing every single day. When your mentee is trying to implement your strategy in the changing, moving parts, and if you're not there to support them, it can go kaput. It can go absolutely pear-shaped. You need to mentor in such a way that you're giving them options, helping your mentee to choose which they want to go and help them clarify the journey. It's their journey. It's not your journey. Sometimes as mentors, some people can be so selfish. It's my idea. You go do it. You will be successful. It's all about me. For mentoring and coaching is never, ever about the coach or the mentor. It's about the mentee or the coachee. Oh, there's a lot of answers in the chat window. Let me see what's happening there. VUCA, yes it is. Okay, so I have a small question for you. So what skills does an agile coach need to have? So we spoke about coaching, we spoke about mentoring. Now we are moving into agile coaching. I have a small poll for you. Answer this for me, please. Launching the poll. It's a multiple choice answer. So take a couple of minutes. It's a multiple choice. There are few skills and competencies. Go through them quickly. Select the ones which you need. You got another 30 seconds. Wow. There's a tons of answers coming as we speak. Okay, the numbers are slowing down. 60 seconds, time's up. I'm ending the poll. Let's look at the answers. Okay. Were you able to see the results? I am not able to see. Okay, we got some results. So Agile Lean Practitioner 48%, trainer, mentor, professional coach. Oh, we got some people say 41% for all the above skills, but most of them said facilitator. An Agile coach needs to be having facilitation skills. Let's test that theory out. Okay, there is a wonderful person called Lisa Atkins. Oh, what an amazing person. She's one of the great Agile coaches I know. She wrote an amazing book called Coaching Agile Teams. And she has presented, in the book, she has created something. Let me share my screen. She has presented something like this picture, what I'm sharing with you. It reminds me, if you have any Star Wars fans in this room, it reminds me of this X-Wing fighter. So that reminds me of it. So in the middle, you have an Agile Lean practitioner, a person who's been able to apply the Agile practices such as design thinking, stand-ups, retrospectives. There are hundreds of practices and there are many frameworks out there. For example, Scrum is a framework. Kanban, Lean, Six Sigma. Of course, there's the mindset principles and values as well. There are practices which go with it. Okay? So you are an Agile Lean practitioner. You've been using these practices day in and day out. If you've been using these practices day in and day out, can you teach those practices? Yes. Why do you need to use those teaching skills? Just imagine you got a new team member who doesn't have a clue anything about Agile, who doesn't have a clue how to do a daily stand-up or a retrospective. Will you call a trainer or will you call Krishna to help this guy? Nah, you need to know how to teach people. Funny enough, when you train someone, when you train a group of people, who is the one person who learns a lot in the training program? Type your answers, please, in the chat window. The trainer. Is it the intent? Is it the intent? There are different kinds of adult learning techniques which you can learn. Recently, I've seen this amazing book. Actually, I got by this person called Shane Hasty on training from the back of the room a few years ago in Bangalore, India. It's an amazing training techniques. There are various training techniques which you use to help bring that knowledge to the participants in such a way the learning sticks. You come for a training program, 3 days, you wait with the trainer, you all learn new things, we all sing Kumbaya in the name of Agile, you go back to your day-to-day work, back to normal. Back to normal. Is that the intent of the training? So as a trainer, how can we make it stick? So you're a trainer. Okay, so what? Because you're a subject matter expert, will you be able to part your knowledge? Because you're a lean practitioner, you will be imparting some of the practices, what's been learning, what you've been delivering, what has worked for you, what has not worked for you. You are doing that as a mentor. Okay, if you move on to the right-hand side, you had professional coaching. Professional coaching we spoke about, where you're partnering with your client, your coachee, in a creative process where you're helping them at the professional, at the personal skills as well. You're helping them to grow for the future. It's all about them. Facilitation. Interesting. Most of you said an Agile coach need to be a facilitator, where you're playing a neutral process, where you're playing a neutral role, holding the wisdom of the crowd. You're bringing different parties together in the room, where you're helping them to reach their potential, helping them to reach the goals of the meeting. That's what you're doing. In the meetings, there will be conflicts, there will be dysfunctional personas, there will be personas like, get on with the meeting, how long should I be here? There will be different people. There will be some silent people who will not be even talking. How do you use these tools and skills to make them talk? Yes. And sometimes if you have a boss in the room who loves to take over the meetings, how can you tell him politely, shut up, without using those words? I'm not telling you to go and tell your boss or anyone to shut up, but there are ways, there are tools to help people to talk. If you have dominating personalities, how you can help them to listen to other people. Okay, we looked at the 5 skills and competencies. Underneath, there are masteries, technical mastery. It can be anything related to your domain. If you go for development wise, there are some people who go into DevOps, continuous integration, continuous testing, continuous development, continuous deployment. And if you go into sales and marketing, there are some consultants who use analytics. Business mastery is to look beyond the curve and look at ways how you can help the organizations to pivot. In the name of COVID, I have seen some organizations disappear overnight. Even before COVID, there were so many organizations disappearing. How can we create an opportunity? How can we create products where the customers don't even know they need them? How many of you use an iPhone? How many of you knew that you desperately, you cannot survive with your phone if you go out from your home? There's so many, what are the ways you can create opportunities for your organization? So there are different techniques you can use. And the next one, you got the transformation mastery. Transformation mastery is interesting. It's about bringing change. Let me ask you, can you bring change overnight? Type it in the chat window. Yes or no? I love people who say it depends, perhaps a very small change. Yes, I agree. When you're talking about change, change can happen over 3 reasons. For example, first reason is called a crisis. If a house is on fire, is Krishna is going to talk to you? Meh. I'll shut my laptop. I'll say thank you very much. Bye-bye, tata. That's called a crisis. When COVID hit, when we got the restrictions overnight, I was doing a training program, and one of the participants was joining me from Paris. They've been given very less notice that they're having a lockdown, and same thing happened in various parts of the world. That was a crisis overnight. People had to work from home. That's a crisis. The second reason is called a threat. Threat means if I do not change my habits, my behaviors, or my way of working, we might not exist 6 months from now, a year from now, or 5 years from now. And the same can be used for your personal reasons. If your doctor said that, Krishna, you're diabetic. If I keep on eating the candy the way I used to do, I might not exist. So that's a threat. In threat situations, what kind of change frameworks you can bring in? In crisis, what kind of change frameworks you can bring in? And the last one is called an opportunity. We know we are good. Nothing is broken. But we want to be better. That's an opportunity. And the unspoken reason why people also change. Next door company is doing Agile. I will also do Agile. One team is doing Agile because when we use the word Agile, we're all Agile. That's another reason why companies do Agile as well. I've seen that. I've worked with them. So I have a small question for you. So these are skills, competencies given by Lisa Atkins. I think they are brilliant. According to Krishna, these are not enough. These are not enough, but it's a great start. But if you want to have a great start, let me do a small assessment for yourself. It will take you 2 minutes. You do not need to answer anybody. This is solo. Let me read this out. Draw a little XWing model in front of you. It'll be a piece of paper, or if you can imagine it. Look at all the different competencies, skills, the different masteries. Put a star or a dot. Where were you 5 years ago? 5 years ago, where were you? What were you doing? Were you more towards facilitating, more towards coaching, training, mentoring? Where were you? That was 5 years ago. Okay, let's come back to the present. That's fine, Sergio, but right now, where are you working? You're working towards teaching? In your profession, is it more only towards facilitation, a bit of teaching, a bit of coaching? Where are you working right now? Are you working mainly towards the technical or towards the change management? This is about your present. Okay? You understand your past. If you don't have a past, if you're a fresh graduate and if you're starting from today, that's amazing. Where are you working? And now let's go into the future. Look at your future. Where do you want to be in the future? More towards teaching or mentoring, or more towards transformation mastery, or bit of coaching, bit of facilitation, bit of transformation mastery, or bit of technical mastery? What is it? And remember, there is no right or wrong answers here. And there are no right or wrong answers in this discussion. So these are the questions I have for you. You can reflect on them later after this webinar as well. How does that inform you of what you are doing today? How does that align with your learning goals for the next 12 months? This is all about you. So what do the dots tell you about your satisfaction in your current position? It's a bit of a reflection for yourself. This is not anything to do with Krishna or what he wants to achieve. Nothing. It's all about you. Good. So you have your answers. You know what you want to do. So let's talk about some facts. So how much time do you spend in meetings in a given day? 10 to 20%, 20 to 40%, 60 to 80%, 80 to 100%. If it's more than 100%, you can say help. Type it in the chat window, please. What is the percentage of your time in meetings? 50%, 50%, 30%, 80%. Okay, 20 to 40, 90%. Okay, there was a research done to see how much time an average person, average leader, a team lead, scrum master, facilitator, they spend in meetings. 30% of any person working in a team, they spend in meetings. 30%. That's pre-COVID. After COVID, different. That's a complete different scenario. Okay. So you know how much time you spend in meetings. So where do conflicts happen? So where do conflicts happen? Where do decisions happen? If you want to create a purpose for your team, where does that happen? If you want to create a vision for your team, where does that happen? It's all in meetings. So if you want to be a coach, an agile coach, it starts being a damn good facilitator. There are various training organizations out there. You also have IAF, International Association of Facilitators. Go and investigate it. It's an organization, it's a free organization to register. If you want to get a membership, I think there's some fee for it. Go and investigate what kind of tools are there to facilitate. What kind of skills I need to use? What kind of models out there to bring people together? You got the Walt Disney, you got the perceptual positions, you got the different personas you can use for facilitation. So having those facilitation tools and skills, it's amazing. You need to have. Okay, even for you to be a facilitator or a coach or a mentor or a trainer, what skills do you need to have? Basic skills. Type it in the chat window. Emotional intelligence, empathy, listening and patience, communications, EI, emotional intelligence, listening, reading the room, interpersonal listening. Wow, amazing. Listening, build trusting, social skills. Okay, you need all of those skills. But if you want to be a coach or a mentor, there are few skills which are important. One of them is called listening. One of them is called asking powerful questions. And one of them is called providing observations or feedback. Those are the three skills you need to have. Those are the three most important skills: to listen, to ask powerful questions, or to provide observations. I have, when we talk about listening, sometimes I have these questions. Let me show them to you. Let me show them to you what these questions are. I'm quite curious about you. When you're listening to a discussion, what is your agenda? What is your agenda? When you're listening to a discussion, what are you afraid of? When you're listening to a discussion, what distracts you? I'm just curious. Type it in the chat window. Giving wrong answers, context switching, fear, agenda to understand the other person, afraid of not having all the answers to understand the person in front, taking quick notes so as to not to interrupt, afraid of sounding offensive. It's funny, when we try to listen, there is a huge difference between listening, between hearing and listening, between hearing and listening. Let me teach you a small tool. Let me give you a small tool today as a small tip. Let me type it in the chat window for you. I believe some of you have seen this tool before. It's called LOL. How many of you heard about the tool? What does it mean? Listen out loud, laugh out loud, listen out loud. I believe Adarsh, he nailed it. Adarsh talks about levels of listening. Every time you hear somebody say LOL, think of one thing called levels of listening. So what do you mean by these levels of listening? Let's try this. Have you been in a meeting and you thought, shit, I forgot to switch off the lights in the kitchen? Did I lock the door on my way home? Did this person send me the report? Let me check on my Slack if this person, where is this person with respect to the task? How many of you had those thoughts in your head? Say I. We have those. All right. Okay, let me give you one more scenario. In the second scenario, you are talking. Before you could finish, the other person interrupts you, butts in, and cuts you off and asks you a question. Is the other person listening to you? How do you feel? You're in the middle of a conversation, other person cuts off and asks you a question. Maybe. Okay? So there's a 50-50 chance the other person has not understood or no at all. So that, because when a person is asking a question internally, a person has to frame a question. From the content that person has, they have to frame a question. So when Krishna is framing a question, am I listening to you at all? Nah. That's called level one listening. Level one listening is quite a selfish listening, or it's called selfish listening, or it's all about you. So in level one listening, we have people just think about themselves. It's called internal listening. It's all about themselves. It's all about me. That's called internal listening. And the second one, the level two listening, is called focused listening, where as a coach, facilitator, participant, whatever I'm doing, I'm only focusing to every word you say. Every word which is coming out from you, it's all about you. That's my focus is here with you. That's called focused listening. And the third one is called global or environmental listening. In global or environmental listening, you're also listening to the words which are not being said. The emotions, the environment in the room, that's what you're listening to. I still remember one of my colleagues who came down on a Monday morning, quite a bubbly person. I said, dude, how are you? How was your weekend? Yeah, Krishna, it's okay. Man, there is a huge emotion in your tone of voice. What happened? Just curious to know more. It's like my dog died. For some people, pets become part of the family. For me too. I grew up with pets. So you need to be globally listening. You're listening to the emotions. You're listening. You're focusing on the words. It's all about the person in front of you. If you're doing one-to-one, if you're working at the team level, you're listening to all the individuals in the room. You are doing one-to-many. How should your awareness be at that moment of time? How should your awareness be at that moment of time? This is about listening. So we have a lot of tools as well. And the next thing is about powerful questions. Let's move on to powerful questions. Powerful questions, they give a participant an opportunity to think, an opportunity to create an awareness, an opportunity to introspect, an opportunity to create possibilities or goals or visions where you're not being judgmental, where you are giving your complete attention to the person in front of you. And these questions help the person to have different perspectives and helping them to create a feedback loop. Listening, when you're listening to the person in front of you, you're also rephrasing and giving them feedback. So this is about asking powerful questions, listening, and providing observations. So let me pause for some time. It's been 46 minutes. I've been giving you a dump, a brain dump. Let me take a few minutes and take some questions. Okay. Can a coach be empathetic? Okay. A coach has to be an empath. A coach, if you do not have your emotions, if you cannot be empathetic, it'll be hard to relate to a human being. It'll be hard to relate to a human being, yes. Is coaching role specific? In professional coaching roles, they are specific. They are specific. You got voice coaches, you got sports coaches, you got cricket coaches. There are different kinds of coaches. So depending on the need, you will bring in the specialist coaches to help them for the job. If you look at Olympics, do they have coaches? These sports people, do they have coaches? If you want to win your Olympics of your career, think about getting yourself a coach or a mentor. Any book you recommend about LOL? All right, this is something I want to tell people. Listening, asking powerful questions. You can read books. There's tons of literature on listening, asking powerful questions. The most important thing is practice. Let's put that into, let's test it out. How many of you ridden a bicycle in your lifetime? A bicycle. Okay, some of us have been on a bicycle. How many of you gone to a manual training class where you got a manual on how to ride a bicycle? How many of you read a manual, then learned how to ride a bicycle? I'm still looking for that one person who has read a manual to ride a bicycle. Every webinar, every organization, I am always looking for that one person. Good. Listening, asking powerful questions, observations. You read a book. So what? That's your knowledge. If you do not practice, of course, you read manual on riding a bicycle. You have to be on a bicycle. Practice it. When you practice, you might be having your knees rubbed at some times. There might be some issues. So you can practice it in safe environments, in a car park or some grounds. You practiced it. And same thing with respect to listening, asking powerful questions, or even the coaching, mentoring conversations. You can practice. There are some organizations out there. The little content you got, it's amazing. If you want to read books, we have tons of recommendations on our Leadership Tribe website. Go download them, go find out. If you keep on adding, bringing on knowledge without practice, according to Krishna, is utter, let me put it in a politically correct way, it's useless. Because one thing I can tell you is, the more you repeat, the more you practice, it creates habits. Habits creates mastery. So, with respect to listening, asking powerful questions, please create an opportunity to practice. There are so many organizations, even webinars, free sessions out there where you can go and practice, or invest in yourself. Invest in yourself. If you want to win the Olympics of your career, yeah, things can fall for free from the sky. It's okay. But sometimes spending a half an hour, 2 hours reading and working with your peers and spending time to practice it matters. And I love with some of my colleagues who said, Ayo Sonugu, it creates confidence. Okay. So we learned about we heard a little bit about coaching, mentoring, training, facilitation. Okay, there was one question from Jason Riley. I would like to hear some suggestions for getting started when you're starting with a new company and a new team. I feel like step one is to build trust, but you can certainly take some time. What else can you do with building trust? Okay. Building trust, it will take time. It's just like, hey, I'm your new coach. We already have trust. Let's go singing and dancing on day one. It doesn't. So as new coaches, when you're working in any organization, in anything, you need to understand the current state. What is it they're actually trying to do? And on top of that, you need to build rapport. You need to build rapport. If you do not have a relationship with a person, will they even talk to you in the first place? If you're a stranger to a team, if you see them for once, say hi, and you go and speak to them, will they be able to dump everything to you? No. Understand the current state, understand what they are working on. So understand the current state, where do they want to be, and what can you do as a coach to bring them together from current state to the future state. That's your role, helping them to achieve that success. How sh- how tone should how tone should be used? How tone should be used by coach while coaching a co-worker? Tone of a voice. All right. If a co-worker is talking to you, "Hi Krishna, how are you doing?" You cannot go in, "Hi Krishna, how are you doing?" So on and so forth. You will scare the living Jesus out of the person. You need to mirror and match. That helps you in building rapport. These are called soft skills. At the same time, there are various techniques out there to see how you can make friends. So, uh, building rapport is one of the basic skills. Those are people skills you need to have. For that, you need to mirror and match. If a person's tonality is very soft spoken, you will be soft spoken at the same time. If a person is bubbly and cheery, you're also mirroring and matching how bubbly and cheery are. You can also mirror and match with the modalities, the way they talk, whether they are visual, auditory, kinesthetic as well. There are various different ways. Okay, can empathetic coach be sensitive? Okay, we have taken some questions, right? Let me move on to some of the content and we will come back to a few more questions. So, okay, you are working as a coach, as a mentor. So there is different frameworks out there to help you with your coaching practice models. One of them is called a GROW model. GROW model is basically used by various coaching organizations. I picked this GROW model in my early days of my coaching career. It starts with, what is the goal of the conversations? Why are we here? What are we trying to achieve in this conversation? That's called the goal. It can be about the opportunity or a problem. It can be about anything the coachee is there for or the mentee is there for. The next part, we are talking about the reality. What is happening in the current reality of the mentee or the coach? So, and once they're able to, the first part of the conversations in goal and reality is called the emotional journey, where the coachee is venting out everything what is happening in the current day-to-day work. Once they're able to go through the emotional journey, the next part is called the tactical journey, where you're looking at the options and the will and the way forward. There is actually an arc of conversations which I would love to share with you. This is called the arc of conversations. It is similar for coaching and mentoring as well. So, in coaching and mentoring, you are creating a safe environment for the person to openly discuss and talk in front of you. What do they want to achieve? Here, you are always curious. You're creating the trust and intimacy. You're self aware, where you're not judging the person in front of you. You're actively listening. You're asking powerful questions. You're neutral. You're present at that moment. And you're using your intuition to go through this, to guide the person through the conversation. So, as part of the coaching conversation, the first part is all about the emotions. The next one is we're talking about the tactics. So, where does it differ in mentoring? Because we do know that as a mentor, you are a subject matter expert. Hey, where you're providing them options. In coaching, you do not provide solutions. In mentoring, you provide them with your wisdom. How do you do it? So while you are helping your coachee understand what options they want to do, how do they want to plan and how do they deliver, and what will the action be? In mentoring, the only difference is you find out what the coachee has done. You ask for permission to share your experience. And you share your experience and ask the mentee what are their thoughts. How do they want to try it? And give them 4 or 5 options. If you do not know, don't bullshit them. Do not lie. If you don't know, you don't know. You can both explore the answers together. If you do not know, you can also recommend who can be the best person in front of you. The best person in front of you. Okay, so in coaching, you do not give answers, you do not provide solutions. In mentoring, when it comes to options, you provide your wisdom in form of options where you're not forcing the mentee to pick your solutions. It's the mentee's choice. The mentee still has a choice to pick what do they want. For either of this, coaching or mentoring, you're not directing, you're not telling. Let's stop there for a second. So, what is the one huge difference between coaching and mentoring? One huge difference between coaching and mentoring. Type it in the chat window. Okay. Coach doesn't give solutions. Coaching can be done with teams. Mentoring is providing a solutions where coaching is not. Great answers. I have few differences which I would love to share with you. And duration of association, Pranav, that's the reason I have a slide for you, my friend, which is coming next. So these are some basic differences between coaching and mentoring. Let me see if I can share my screen with you. So if you're looking at the differences, including the definition, these are some of them. Of course, we will be sharing the slides with you, so you don't need to worry about taking screenshots or writing the notes down. Just go through the flow, and if you have any questions, you can put them in the Q&A section. So in coaching, it's a thought-provoking process where you are helping to maximize the coachee's personal and professional development. In mentoring, most often occurs when a mentor transfers the knowledge and experience and advises for the purpose of mentee's growth and learning. When you're talking about SME, professional coaching is about the process, how you're taking them through the journey. An SME of a mentor is about the specific subject matter expertise, what the mentee needs. The solution is not provided in coaching. Mentors use their own personal expertise to offer choices and possible solutions. Remember, offer choices and possible solutions where you're not telling them what to do. There is a huge difference there. Time frame with respect to coaching, short term, between 3 months, 6 months. Sometimes I even had coaches who were for 1 year as well. For mentoring, this one is different. It's a long term and maybe for years. I've mentored some people more than 20 years ago, and they're still part of the journey. The focus of coaching is to achieve their own objectives at work and in life. You're not only looking at a specific problem, because body and mind are the same system. So it's personally, professionally, even 360 degrees of a human being, we are looking at how can they improve. In mentoring, it's mainly focused around the mentee's current job function, and at times it's beyond the career development. In coaching, it's a bit more structured with regular meetings. Mentoring is as and when needed, and sometimes it can be formal as well. The outcome for coaching can be very much specific because that's part of the coaching agreement the coach makes with the coachee. And as they're going along, they are also managing and monitoring how they are improving positive change in the desired outcomes. In mentoring, the relationship can shift over time to time. These are the major differences between mentoring and coaching. Let's look at some of the similarities as well. The similarities is quite simple. For either mentoring or coaching is never about you. It's never about you. Because the coach and a mentor, they're using powerful questions to elicit information where they are able to introspect, have new insights, and they can challenge the thought process and expand in the working or growing forward. This is something what it's the way of questioning. The agenda for both coaching and mentoring, it's set by the coachee or the mentee. And when it comes to decisions and solutions, is both are decided by the coachee or the mentee because they are going to own the action plan. And who is holding them accountable? The coachee and mentee are responsible for their own actions. At times, if they're updating the coach and mentor, they will be updating the coach and mentor as they are progressing. Either for coaching and mentoring, there is one job you have to do. It's called seeking the truth. Or if you want to hide in your teams where you're not interested, for anything you need to dig. So remember that. The more you're curious about your teams, the more you are listening. There's a lot of magic which happens between 6 inches of your head, between those 2 ears. Here you're thinking, you're listening, you're creating an opportunity to think better as well. Let me take a couple of minutes. Let's see if there are any other questions here. Are we going to get some slides? Yes. Can an empathetic coach be sensitive in such situation? How does one put it across the team? Jyoti, I wish I can answer those one. I would need at least more. I would have given you more information before so that I can explain to you how I can help you with this. I don't think I can cover that in less than half an hour or 20 minutes. So how can we find paid and or volunteer real world coaching activities? Actually, reach out to Leadership Tribe. Hello at Leadership Tribe. We have so many volunteering and coaching work, especially for the alumni group. We are more than happy to set you up with some of the alumni which we have. So reach out to us. That's one way to do it. And my colleague just gave me a notice saying that there is we have less than 25 minutes. We still need to cover some topics as well. Okay, let me give you some tips which will help you with your journey. So these has definitely helped me. So let me give you some tips. With respect to coaching, mentoring, training, facilitation, or any of these masteries, one has to invest in themselves. Invest in themselves. It can be time or going to any other training programs, learning, having the knowledge. In knowledge with respect to theory, some tools you can use for coaching, mentoring, training, facilitation as well. Because as coaches or leaders, you will be using different tools at any given time. Say, for example, if you got a brand new team joining, so you need to facilitate team meetings. For that, you need to use facilitation skills. To create a team vision, you need to use facilitation skills. If the team do not know how they're going to work together, or if you want to teach them the agile ways of working, you need to be a trainer. When they're improving the skills, you need to be mentoring them because the skills are improving. They're getting better as they're going. You might be doing some coaching. Learning how to dance at that moment also requires a skill. So knowing when to coach, when to mentor, when to train, when to facilitate, or using all the skills in different variations as well. And for that, please invest in yourself. If you're looking for books, there are some amazing books. One book called Coaching for Performance, written by Sir John Whitmore. I would recommend you to get one. And it's also an audio book on Amazon. I believe there was an audio book on Amazon. Amazon, I've seen one. Get one for yourself. I think it's less than £6 or £8. It's a very cheap one. Get one. And on top of that, practice being a good listener. Knowing your biases. Sometimes when you're listening to people, there are times where your selfishness comes more. It's like you're curious. It's your curiosity comes more than the person itself. Your selfishness comes ahead of the person itself. So for that, you need to know how you can control your biases. Are you really listening to the person? Asking powerful questions. There's a list of powerful questions on the LinkedIn download, on the download section for Leadership Tribe on LinkedIn. There's tons of rich articles. Please download it. It's free. Use them. By the way, I borrowed them from Coactive Coaching. The list of powerful questions, they're amazing. I practice them. If you're learning to practice, this is what I've done. I've written my powerful questions, stick it to my computer screen. The more I see it, and when I'm even in my coaching conversations, there's nothing, I refer to them and I ask them. How do you observe and provide feedback? So you also need to practice on that. And for all of this, most of our colleagues in this webinar said you need to have the self-awareness, the emotional intelligence, understanding about yourself. What is your potential? What are your inhibitors? What are your strengths? And what are the things which are slowing you down? The more you're a bit, the more you are self-aware, you can be socially aware. When you're socially aware, you can self-manage. When you can self-manage, you can build relationships. And it starts from you. It starts from you. And this will also help you, by having those basic skills, this will also help you to create a better working agreements with your teams, helps you to be a better facilitator, a better practitioner. And most of it, these are not new skills. These are existing skills. Go get trained or practice in your organization. If somebody has already gone for training, go and be nice to them. Ask them what they can teach you, what else you can learn from them. For everything, there are few more tips. For everything you're doing, there is one question I have for you. Are you being mindful or mindful? Because if you're not being mindful about what is happening around you, sometimes you will miss the boat completely. Remember, we are still in a volatile, uncertain, complex, ambiguous environment, and COVID is exaggerating issues right now. If you have team members or employees who are impacted with COVID and coming to work with their families or parents or kids impacted with COVID and coming to work, will they have the same side of a mindset and able to deliver the same way they were doing before? Will they do it? Yes or no? Type it in the chat window. This is reality. We are working with reality with so many things happening. Can we be the same when so many things are happening around us? And for that, you need to be self-aware. You need to be self-aware, not only about yourself, but the people around you. So emphasize more on your communication, especially right now in the virtual environment. I know markets are opening up. Some people are going to offices, and some infection rates are going up. So we do not know where we are. In these uncertain times, communicate better, explicitly. If I'm telling you something, does not mean that the way I tell you, you understood the way I wanted you to. Explain things in a way they can understand you. It's not about you. And sometimes I've been seeing a lot of things. I want to measure my employees' work during the COVID time. I want to make sure that they have logged in around 8 o'clock, logged out around 5 o'clock. I want to see some timings, which also tells me that you do not trust how the way we work with our teams. The language we use, vocabulary which we use with our teams as well matters. And while we are working virtually, the scheduling difficulties, the time zones, be more cognizant, especially now. And on top of that, one thing I recommend you to do is do something about yourself, something to yourself. It's called self-care. Do something which helps you to be better, helps you mentally, physically as well. If it means going out for a walk with your family for half an hour, do it. Singing a song in the shower, do it. Do things which will make you happy. And even sleeping better is the one way to do things. So to be a better coach, trainer, facilitator, it starts from you. So look after yourself. That's one thing which I recommend. And the second thing which I also want to tell you is, if you want to improve the quality of your work, which is nothing but the function of your knowledge, the knowledge you have on a particular topic, and the practice you have on the particular topic, which will help you to increase your talent. That will help you to increase your talent. If you this quality of work, quality of a coach, quality of a leader, quality of a parent, it can be quality of anything. So it all comes down to you. This knowledge, what I'm giving you over the webinar, is okay. So what? If you cannot practice, useless, according to Krishna. Okay. At the start of the session, we spoke about the XWing model. And we said it's not complete. This is something more. You need to learn about the mindset and behaviors, people skills, the influential skills, saying what are the things you can do to help your teams to move forward. It's always easy to ask what other people are doing for you, what else we can do. The question here is, you understand these are the skills you need. You understand these are the tools I need. So what's next? What's next? So what are your takeaways from your session? Type it in the chat window, please. Let me see that. Farooq is saying it starts from you, but it's all about the others. Spot on, Farooq. So what are your takeaways from this session? You got levels of listening, okay? Self-awareness. Shayali says, lol. Listen more. Grow. 3P, practice, practice, practice. Ha! I love this. Much easier to drive once you only focus on the road instead of the vehicle. What a beautiful way to go. What a beautiful metaphor. Ayo talks about self-cap assessment. Understand. Yes. Understand your current state. What are your skills? What do I need more? And add one layer at a time. One layer at a time. And okay, we got some key differences between coaching and mentoring. Fantastic. I got some few gifts I want to give you. As I've shown you, some of our trainers, coaches are delivering some training programs. We got some offers and we got some upcoming training programs as well. Let me share them with you. So these are the upcoming training programs we have. We got the Agile Team Facilitator. During part of the program, you need to be a better coach. You need to be a great facilitator. We do understand that most of our time, 50%, some of us 50% or more, we spend in meetings. To be a great facilitator, yes, you need to have some skills and tools. On top of that, if you want to improve your coaching skills as well, we have a path. It's called the Agile Coaching Bootcamp. And we have more, we got some upcoming classes next week. It's all done online. And most of the classes start from 2 p.m. to 6 p.m. British summer time. And we got some discounts and offers at the moment. If you want to understand what are the offers there, please drop a note to hello@leadership tribe. My colleague Chitra will drop you the links and you can reach out to us. At the same time, if some of you who are working from the business, because some of us are working at the team unit, business unit, or at the enterprise level. For the team and the business unit, some of us are working as an agile coach or team coaches. But if you're working at the business unit or at the enterprise level, this is for those people. If they're interested in, you can also come down for your enterprise coaching bootcamp, as well as the coaching agile teams. This is happening in the first week of August. Let me see that. This is happening in the first week of August. And we also have some more training programs on Kanban as well. So there are some offers and discounts. Please drop a note to a colleague, Chitra or Devante. They're more than happy to help. You can reach out to my training programs or my colleagues. You can go anywhere. But one thing you can do is go get those knowledge and skills if you don't have one. If you have that knowledge, practice. Practice with your siblings, practice with your colleagues. See what you can do, take it from there. All right, let me stop there. Let's look at a Q&A. Coaching rules say that coach will not give answers or advice, but they will help you in finding the solutions. My coachee asks, if the coachee have the answers with them, then why the coach required? You don't need a coach, Abhishek. Okay. For coaching and mentoring, the coachee or the mentee will seek a coach or a mentor. If they have an answers, why do they need a coach? Nah, you don't need one. Every athlete has a coach, but everyone is not a winner. How much success depends on a coach and how much on a coachee? All right. How much depends on a coach, how much on a coachee? It depends on both of them. If the coachee does not want to win a medal, nobody can coach them. Like this. If I give you an opportunity to coach a fish to climb up a tree like a monkey and behave like a monkey, can it happen? Can you coach that to happen? Nah. So if the coach is not good enough for the coachee, can it be successful? No. So that's the reason in professional coaching, not agile coaching. As an agile coach, one must be an agile lean practitioner. You need to be a mentor, facilitator, trainer, and a professional coach. Plus one mastery to be to be an agile coach. Professional coaching is different, which is an element of agile coaching. But agile coaching and professional coaching are not the same. So how much coaching differs from professional counseling? I would love to answer because I have to give you more answers. Can you give me a note, Jyoti? I'll be more than happy to give. We actually have an article or telling you the differences between counseling, coaching, psychotherapy on our website. Feel free to reach out to us. What are the don'ts while coaching, mentoring new company and team? First of all, get trained. Without getting trained, you might be doing damage. So if you got trained, help your team members to achieve the goals or practice with them. Do's and don'ts, there are many things. Do not be a consultant. Let me see what else we got. I don't understand how mentoring needs much time than coaching, while I believe coaching needs very close mentoring. Okay, Ahmad, I would love to explain to you. And I think the 8 minutes I have, I don't think I'll be able to answer that. So please give me a note. I'll be more than happy because you need to understand the difference of coaching and mentoring in detail. I believe there's a slight difference. We need to get back to you on that. give me a note, Ahmed. I'll be more than happy. All right. It's been lovely talking to you, and it's been a great experience having you in this webinar. And have a lovely weekend. If you have any questions, if you have any thoughts, reach out to me on LinkedIn or drop a note at hello@leadershiptribe.com. And if you're attending to any of my training programs, I'll be more than happy to see you. So on that note, have a lovely weekend and have a nice time.